Okay, here we go. It's a little tricky with the ring, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Don't worry. And I'm going to adjust the audio right now. Let me just feed this to Roger. And there we go. Hold on. Okay. All right. Now, hold on. Now we also have a very special guest. As you know, there's a homicide. Well, you may or may not know. There's a homicide in Pawtucket, and we're going to speak with a family member of the individual that lost their life. And we're also obviously going to bring the latest. Something, I mean, I'm shaken over what just happened in the courtroom with the Karen Lee trial. Folks, also tonight, 8 o'clock, it's Court TV Day. 8 o'clock tonight, I will be live on Court TV with Vinny tonight at 8. I don't think I need this. No. It's tough just because of the weather. So we're all kind of in the back a little bit, folks. So, but we can make this work. So, here we go. Okay. Just do that. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Hold on, everybody. Yes. So again, tonight, 8 o'clock. Okay. 104. 104. Let me just adjust this a little bit. I think we're going to be okay. So you can tell we're outside of court. Share that you are watching. And then, here we go. Okay. It's a little high. A little bit, headroom's too much. There we go. Much better. Okay, so we did Court TV this morning with the great Julie Grant. We're going to do Court TV tonight. Let me just double check. Friday night, I did Vinnie Politan on the serial killer. And then we're going to do it tonight on the Karen Reed trial. So, very busy TV time. And tonight, yeah, okay. Here we are on X. And we're good to go. So, oh, good. There's our guest. All right. We're going to bring her on right away. Oh, good. 45-minute break. Folks, it's all happening. All right. We are going to start with what happened in Pawtucket because we've had a homicide. And okay. We're going to begin in just a moment. Alexa should be able to hear me, and you're going to be able to hear Alexis, everybody. And we're going to start right now. Okay, what a dramatic time. It's 1:06 on this Tuesday, May 6th. As you can tell, the weather is still lousy. What is the temperature? We're in Dedham, outside of the Karen Reed, 65 degrees but rainy for the Karen Reed trial. Now, I am going to explain what we just watched. And it was very, very dramatic. But at the same time, now yesterday, we were here at the Karen Reed trial, folks. And then I learned that there was a situation in Pawtucket. And tragically, and I want to read what the Pawtucket police put out. Now, you saw the footage yesterday, and I started learning a little bit more about what happened. And the Pawtucket police put out a statement that 37-year-old Eric Peterson charged first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony assault, carrying a pistol without a license. Police believe the shooting, isolated incident. Peterson and the victims, a family lived in the same building as him. 28-year-old man was killed, 25-year-old woman injured. And joining us right now is the cousin of the person that lost their life. And I want to say good afternoon and very condolences to Alexis. Alexis, thank you for taking the time. I know it's very difficult, but thank you for joining us, and my heartfelt condolences to you and your family.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me on here. I just wanted to come and, speak on behalf of my cousin and my family.
This is so horrific. There's more details that people don't even realize because
Hmm.
your cousin, and Alexis, you share with us about him, and I want to give you a chance to honor him. But this happened right in front of, I believe, 2 very young children, your relatives.
Yes, so unfortunately, he was home because he does work second shift. So they were leaving to go pick up their 8-year-old son from the school bus. And they had their almost 3-year-old son with them at that moment.
Tell us a little bit about Brandon.
Brandon's always been a good kid, you know. He graduated from the Met High School, hardworking, a devoted family man, would do anything for anyone, would literally take the shirt off his back. And unfortunately, I'm learning today that he did lose his life trying to protect his wife and his child,
Ah,
which I don't expect anything less of him because of the kind of person he is and who he's always has been. He's just a very wonderful, wonderful young man. We grew up together. We're about a year apart, so we were really, really close. And, it's just, it's shocking because we would never expect something like this to happen to him. He's very quiet. He goes to work. His wife is a stay-at-home mom, so he worked really, really hard to make sure that lifestyle could be happening for them. And it's just, a good kid all around. Really, really good kid.
now, do you know about, or what can you tell us about this living situation where Eric Peterson is, I believe, was he on the first floor and Brandon and his wife lived on the second floor? Is that how it was?
Yes, that's correct. So I'm not really sure why everything transpired the way it did because it's an ongoing investigation. So I don't want to say anything that may,
Sure,
interfere with the investigation. But
I understand.
what I do know that what it appears to me is it looks like it was premeditated. That's my own opinion. But I don't know. I don't want to speculate anything. But yes, he did live on the first floor, and my cousin did rent the second floor apartment. But from what we learned was that man that lived on the first floor had not been there for a very long time. He
Okay.
just recently moved there.
And how well do you know Jennifer at all, or like did you
Yes,
have a chance?
actually, they were together from 12 and 15 years old. They were together for a very, very long time, about 13, 14 years since high school
How?
almost.
Um, Alexis, and he has been charged with first degree murder, so that is premeditated. It's just so, and just, if you don't mind, touch on the children. I mean, this is what took place in Pawtucket yesterday. You're talking about a nightmare of two young children home with their parents. I mean, the ages that I have, where one was 3 years old and maybe the other one was a little bit older, but
I'm so
it
sorry. Can you
literally,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you fine. So it literally
Give me
happened.
1 second.
Okay, literally happened, folks, right in front of them, and you have, I don't know how this individual
Hello?
thought. Yes, go right ahead. Go right ahead, Alexis.
Hi,
So,
John. I'm gonna have to reconnect.
oh, all right. I'm not exactly sure what happened. So, all right. I can still hear you, but
Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
okay. That's all right.
I was receiving phone calls.
I'm sure.
Um,
Listen, people are hearing, people are reaching out. Folks, again, this is Alexis. It's
yes.
her cousin who was shot and killed in Pawtucket yesterday. The police have not released a motive. What's so unusual about it is the individuals being held was there was the person lived on the first floor of the house. So it's Brandon and his wife Jennifer. But what can you tell us about the two children?
The two children, they're wonderful. Anthony, he's 8 years old. He's a little
Ah,
bit older now. He's in school. He's quiet, just like his dad, got his own little sense of humor. And, Damien was just, discovering himself. He's at 2, 3, almost 3 years old. He's learning who he is. He's coming out of his shell. And they're just really both really good kids. Really, really good kids. They have a really good family life, and they're just wonderful children.
had they? Were you aware? So this Eric Peterson, who's being held and being charged in this, are you aware, Alexis? You're saying he was relatively new, had moved there. Any complaints about him? Any idea? Any background? Were they complaining about the new neighbor on the first floor or anything like that?
That's something that I believe would be a part of the investigation.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
I don't really want to say
I understand.
anything.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but yeah,
Just, but just understand it's so shocking,
it
and
is
right,
definitely.
and just to think for someone to do that to a couple. Um, I mean, you have your cousin Brandon
Hmm.
and his wife and the two children. That's who you want in the neighborhood, and suddenly now the individual that lived on the first floor is being charged here and being held, and it's first degree murder. So that's why I want to ask. All right, here's what. This is a lot. We're going to talk again. Is there anything else? I'd like to give family an opportunity. Anything. So it's Jennifer and Brandon. Anything. What should people know about your cousin, or how can people support the family right now? This is a very difficult time.
So we're in the works of, planning funeral arrangements. Obviously, with my cousin being very young, he did not plan to pass away.
No, 20.
No, so
Wow.
I'm not sure on whether or not we will be starting a GoFundMe. If you're okay with that, I will share that information with the public. I just have to touch base with my aunt and his siblings to get the okay from them. But that's something that I have been considering. I have to meet with them, and that would be a great help. Outside of that, if you see something, say something. Don't stay quiet. If you feel like somebody is a bad person or they have intentions to be a bad person, you should report it. We live in a very scary place now, and I just want everyone to, live in peace and, do the right thing. Speak up.
Again, folks, it's Alexis. It's her cousin, 28-year-old cousin Brandon, who tragically shot and killed in his own home yesterday afternoon in Pawtucket.
Yes.
Alexis, again, condolences out to your family.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for taking the time. We will talk to
Of,
you again as we
of
get more.
course. And I just want everyone to remember him as the hardworking family man that he was. And, he was a wonderful brother, cousin, nephew, son. There's nothing bad that I can say about him. He truly was an amazing young man. And, although things did transpire the way they did, he died protecting his wife and his son. And,
Wow, terrible.
it's a horrible situation, but
It
I know
is.
in my heart that he's a hero. He died a hero trying to do the right thing by his wife and his son. And that's just who he is.
Alexis, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
You're very welcome. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay. All right,
Thank
folks,
you.
there
Bye-bye.
it is. The cousin of the man. I wanted to get to that. We are going to talk about Karen Reed. I do want to give you some more details about this. I understand the cousin, right now it's 116. I mean, folks, this is something. Yesterday, this is the second homicide, by the way, in Pawtucket. It was a homicide last week, broad daylight. Then there's a homicide yesterday afternoon as these people are in their apartment and in their apartment with their two young boys. And the guy on the first floor, and I'll hold up his picture again, comes up. I have no idea how he was in the apartment, why he was in the apartment, and shot both parents. But Pawtucket police. Now the homicide from last week is still unsolved. But this is two homicides. We're not even into July yet. And I've been telling you, this is going to be a violent summer. We've had two homicides in the city of Pawtucket in 2 weeks. Both close range firearms. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. This Sunday, Mother's Day coming, stop in. Annuals, perennials, trees and shrubs, hanging pots, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, hanging impatiens, pansy, marigold bags, large selection of beautiful patio pots, vegetable plants, herbs, tropical mandevillas, hibiscus plants. They're a full-scale nursery. Stop in and see them. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane, North Kingstown. If you're going to go out, the thing about Mother's Day, why not plant for your mom something beautiful and then you have it? PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Folks, check out DePietro.com. Now, we do have video of Pawtucket yesterday. We have video of Pawtucket last week, I think. We have video of the Providence birthday party that turned into, think of this, last week was the homicide of Pawtucket. Saturday night was the birthday party where then someone was shot. Sunday night, we had the victim, Adonis, who was shot Saturday night. Yesterday afternoon, homicide at Pawtucket. Today, Tuesday, cousin of the victim. All on DePietro.com, which is brought to you by the Coesit Inn. Now, good news, speaking of Mother's Day, there's still time. Make a reservation. Take your mom for a nice Mother's Day. A lot of people start going out on Saturday for Mother's Day. So make a reservation for Saturday. Make a reservation for Mother's Day. The Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. Now, I am going to talk about the Karen Reed. What just happened was wildly. I am even shaken a little bit at what I just heard and watched in the courtroom with Karen Reed. Again, just a reminder, tonight, I was on Court TV with Julie Grant this morning at 8 o'clock. Tonight, full hour, live, with Vinny on the Karen Reed trial. That's tonight at 8 to 9 on Court TV. Thursday is Newsmax. Friday, 3 to 4 on Fox Nation, streaming live with on the Karen Reed trial. Folks, one of the benefits of being an independent is you can do all these different news outlets. This portion of the program, though, brought to you by Propane Plus. Actually, I'm next to the Fox people. Propane Plus, call them today, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. Propane Plus, and always online at propaneplus.com. For your heating and cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. Again, residential or commercial, log on at propaneplus.com or call them 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. Let's talk a little bit of Karen Reed. as I think it is starting to rain a little bit. I want to just I want to just show, though, once again, good work by the Pawtucket police. As much as there's the mugshot, Eric Peterson. So there's the gunman. So he obviously wasn't at the residence yesterday. I did hear they got him pretty quickly into custody, but I don't know what to make of that. All right, let me just back up for just a moment. So that's the Pawtucket situation. We'll follow any other details that come with it. But I want to talk about what we just heard in the Karen Reed testimony. So today is day 10. And folks, it's a different world inside the courtroom. And I've been trying to explain to people what it's like when they play these Karen clips and the lights go out and there's a big screen to my right and then there's a big screen in front of me and it booms through. And some people may get this analogy, but it is akin to, I think of like the Wizard of Oz, when they finally make their way to Oz and they go in and there's the big screen, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, it's the Wizard of Oz. Karen is suddenly like above everybody on these big screens, Karen Reed, and her voice is booming. So now this morning, you have defense attorney Alan Jackson. And listen, the guy is considered one of the top defense attorneys in the country. And you see why. And he's trying to cut into the Canton Lieutenant Gallagher, the Canton Police Department. And again, people can beat up the Canton Police, saying they were too casual, even though it seemed very obvious that morning what had happened, which was you have a defendant there saying, I hit him. You have a broken, cracked tail light, and, it seemed pretty clear that morning that you had a hit and run with death resulting. But here's my point. Every time the defense is trying to push back against the prosecution, lo and behold, they play a Karen clip. And the Karen clips are brutal, and they are wildly effective in the courtroom. And I know that you can see them. For people that are watching the trial or streaming the trial, you go on YouTube, you can watch it. But when they play a Karen clip of her saying that he was in the general vicinity of where she dropped him off. And you have to understand, when Karen Reed is on video saying, I said, could I have hit him? Could I have clipped him? Could I have hit his knee? Don't you understand? That completely undermines what the defense just tried to do. I would compare it akin to, the defense is trying to get the rock up the hill, and just as they're climbing, Karen comes along and knocks the rock back down the hill. Those videos of Karen Reed, they're the most powerful. And here's the thing about it, is they can't be cross-examined. She can't be cross-examined. Those clips can't be cross-examined. All these other witnesses today, the meteorologist is on the stand. Today, Nick Garino is back, Massachusetts State Trooper. He's back on the stand. All of these witnesses can be cross-examined, but you can't cross-examine Karen Reed sitting in an interview setting. And by the way, this isn't, someone in a backyard filming her on their phone. This is lights. This is camera. This is action. This is, it's movie style quality that was shown on HBO. I don't know how else to explain it. It's so damaging. It is so damaging. And she, all these people trying to argue, did we say he was in the basement? He was actually in the garage. As it starts to really pour. No, he was in the garage. The thing about that is, as I was mentioning, it's so damaging because every time they're trying to get him in the house or in the garage now, apparently, Karen Reed brings him back to, he was found pretty much right where I dropped him off. It's like she can't keep her story straight. But I want to tell you what was most powerful. And I was just talking with another member of the press. And it's just one of those things. It was you're like shaken by how powerful it was. And I'm going to tell you about it in just a moment. But folks, this portion of the program Hey, I want to remind you, if you maybe is your roof leaking today? It is. Maybe you need a new roof. Why not get a free estimate with Roof Co. Rhode Island? Call them 401 868 7149. 401 868 7149. Roof Co. Rhode Island. Free estimate for leaky roof, or if you have wind damage, call Joe at Roof Co. Rhode Island. If you're listening or watching on this rainy Tuesday, and maybe you have water leaking, contact Roof Co. Rhode Island. Leaky roof, missing lifted or curled shingles, granules in the gutter, damaged chimney flashing, or wind damage. Now remember, free estimate. They may find that you've had wind damage to your roof. That means the insurance company picks it up. Roof Co. Rhode Island, 401 868 7149. All right, at 1:26 on this Tuesday, May 6th. Now, right now, we're live on X, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, we're also live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM, and you can listen online at depetro.com. And when you're on depetro.com, scroll down, and you can see links to our TikTok page, you can see links to Instagram. Everything is right there. So, what was so dramatic about what we just witnessed, if you were watching or did not, in the courtroom? And that is they recalled Trooper Nick Garino. And they started with, from John O'Keefe got out of the vehicle, to the number of times Karen Reed called him, the number of times it was going to voicemail, he wasn't picking up, the number of times she left voicemails, took it all the way through the night, and it is the depiction of a psychopath. It's a depiction of someone who is screaming rage. It is a depiction of someone who's using vulgarity and screaming she blanking hates him, and she's screaming he's a pervert. And there's even a butt dial that you hear her walking around. Sounds like she's making a drink. But what I found most disturbing is, now keep in mind, they're telling a story. Hank Brennan is telling a story, bringing the jurors back to what happened that night, and especially the early morning hours. What I find so interesting compared to the last trial, the first trial last spring, is the first trial, the focus seemed to be more on the night and leading up to the night. This time around, it's all about when he got out of the car at the flagpole. And what I found haunting is that, and they just played it, and if you heard it, you know what I meant. And it's one of those things, not to be overly dramatic, but if you heard it, what I just witnessed in the courthouse, I will always remember. It was that powerful. The jurors, when they put the lights on, the jury was like, oh my God, like what did we just witness? And I'm talking about at 6:03:02, defendant calls John. So Karen Reed is at the scene. She's with Jen McCabe. She's with Kerry Roberts. By the way, Massachusetts State Police are out in force here today at the courthouse. Nobody wants to be out in the rain. I don't blame them. But my point is, what we heard was her line is open, and you hear her with Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts, and you hear the windshield wiper. And I know someone saying, well, wait a minute, they played that before. But what I found more effective this time is taking the calls through the night. And Trooper Garino, not answered. The number of times. Like, what's wrong with her? She called everyone other than 911. She, calling like a maniac. And then finally, what I found most powerful, and I know the jury did as well, is, remember, we had just had Kerry Roberts. Last week was Jen McCabe week here at the Karen Reed trial. But what I found most powerful is the testimony of Jen McCabe and the testimony of Kerry Roberts. What you just heard on the Karen Reed voicemail, it's the open line that she called John's phone. It's exactly as they had laid it out. That voicemail was just played. It was so eerie because it brought you right to the moment of Jen McCabe with Kerry Roberts when they discover the body of John O'Keefe. Right there. And Karen with the Carrie, Carrie, Jen, and screaming like a maniac, whacked, so frightening. And Reed is sitting right there. And I can see the jury. The jury is starting to look at her with daggers. Like she's just, and there she is up on the screen. I'm saying, did I hit him? Did I hit him? I mean, it's just so preposterous. I have to admit, I mean, as I'm sitting there, if I'm on the jury, I'm like, why is there even a trial here? There's nothing even that remotely points to anything else at this point. So, folks, this portion of our program, don't forget about Kids Club. You can save your spot for your child or grandchild at Kids Club on the Pike. Kids Club on the Pike. Now, it's true, it's perfect for a birthday party venue, before and after school care, preschool. But Kids Club on the Pike, now they have a summer camp. And you could reserve a spot for your child or grandchild. Kids Club on the Pike, 401-443-5336. 401-443-5336 for Kids Club on the Pike. Look for them on Facebook. Maybe you're riding or you can't fully remember, but they're right off of 295, Cranston-Johnston line, Kids Club on the Pike. I cannot believe what we just watched. In the last clip of Karen Reed, by the way, Karen Reed, the two clips we just saw, dim the lights, like being in a classroom. There's big Karen. You know what Karen Reed always wanted to be on the big screen? She thinks she's Norma Desmond. Karen Reed always wanted to be a big movie star. Guess what, honey? You're starring in your own demise. The entire defense is having their lugs cut out by the defendant, by her words. What does she say? Alan Jackson spent an hour trying to save Lieutenant from Canton. Well, maybe he broke the glass. Maybe got the glass in the house. Then they play the clip of Karen. Well, John got out of the house with my vodka glass, and that's the glass they found. She is killing. Whose side is she on? I mean, if she weren't the defendant, I would think, wow, she's really working for the prosecution. Between that, they're trying to argue he was in the garage. He went in the house. He went in the basement. Karen says, well, they found him pretty much in the area where I dropped him off. So that's why I was thinking. I mean, as Karen says in the clip, Karen said it's very possible that I may have clipped him. I may have hit his knee. How is that not a confession? Yesterday, Katie McLaughlin, the paramedic, gets on the stand. What did she say? I hit him 4 times. I'm trying to discern, like, the people that are supporters. At what point am I going to have some doubts raised? So far, Hank Brennan is pitching a shutout. By the way, on my TikTok page, these people, you don't know what you're talking about. Brennan's getting crushed in there. Someone that looks like him is doing a very, very good job. And the testimony that they are getting in, and they're getting in a lot, it's really effective. But those clips, those Karen clips, who knew? Never seen a trial like this, where she's discussing. You tell me when I have to move. Where she's, and I meant that to you. Just tell me when I get there.
She's coming in.
We'll figure it out. She was as late as possible. So, just because now it has started to rain.
Yeah.
So, I'll move over in between the bikes. Folks, we're going to go for a little walk. This portion of the program brought to you by Serve Pro of Providence. Fast, thorough, professional. ServeProProvidence.com. And you can call them. If you have a fire, or you have water damage, or mold, Serve Pro Providence. 401-941-5500. 401-941-5500. Look for them online at ServeProProvidence.com. They're another one. I share their social media. Excellent. When disaster happens, 24/7, you can depend. Serve Pro of Providence, 401-941-5500. So we're in Dedham, and now it's raining. outside of the Karen Reed trial. I will be back in for the afternoon session. Now listen, there's an ebb and flow to a trial. Robert Alisi, the defense, one of the defense attorneys. By the way, Victoria George is not in the courtroom again. Why does that matter? Well, the media certainly made a huge deal about when a juror joined the defense, and suddenly now she's not in court and no one is saying anything. Did she learn something that now she's not on board? Did Victoria George say, hey, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought. I can't be part of this. It's very possible. I'm waiting to see if Victoria George shows up with the prosecutors. But they have meteorologists get on the stand. And he's a meteorologist. And Robert Alisi is trying to quiz them on, well, what about if cats are playing in the snow? And folks, my point is, it's going nowhere. And they're laying out that it was a blizzard and the ground was frozen. And Alisi just keeps going on and trying to argue like, well, is it, possible, or what's the definition of a snowflake? And when they say that it'll be falling at 1 inch an hour, is it possible it's really only a 1/2 inch an hour? And everyone's looking at each other like, does anyone have any idea what this guy's talking about? Like, what is the point? Where are you going? But let me just come back to what just happened. Nick Garino, the Massachusetts State Trooper, recalled by Hank Brennan. Boom. Upper deck or over the monster. Deep right by the Penske pole. Wow. Not only is it explosive with the Karen Reed, I want to re-emphasize this. Not only is it explosive with the Karen Reed voicemails where she's screaming, you hear that rage, that drunken, maniac, psychopathic rage that Karen Reed was described having, but you hear it. And what we just heard in that voicemail, to me, it just boosted Jen McCabe. It just boosted Kerry Roberts. That's what just happened. And everyone may not realize that, as a matter of fact. But what Karen Reed just did was echo precisely what they had been saying. And you hear them in it as well. So for all the people that were knocking Jen McCabe, if you're on the jury, they just listened to exactly what Jen McCabe had laid out for them. Folks, this portion of our program brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Hey, listen, Mother's Day. You know what Mom would love? How about a paved driveway? Who wouldn't? 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. They're another one. You can look for them on Facebook. Free estimate, any project. And remember, no one, and I mean no one, is better to veterans than J. Perry Paving. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. Call them. You're a veteran, related to a veteran. Father's Day is coming. You know what your mom would love? Nothing says I love you like, Mom, I'm going to pave the driveway. J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. Well, folks, again, good afternoon. What a morning. Wow. And it was, it came, suddenly Nick Garino was there. Now, keep in mind, the Reed people had to know what was coming. It's the presentation of how it's done. It's the presentation that I found the most effective. Give me a minute. Okay. You're going to let me 5 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes. Okay. So now, unbelievable. What we're seeing take place. Now again, I'm also realistic, folks. Let me just see. Excellent trial strategy by Brennan from a defense perspective. None of Karen Reed's interviews were worth whatever little frenzy a small pile of cash the defense got, allowing her to speak publicly. Devastating evidence. And it is. And folks, and the defense, as I was saying, if you're the defense, every time they're seemingly gaining ground, here comes another Karen clip around the corner. Like, what is the point? right? Just as they're getting it up there. It's like she's Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. Every time they're trying to cut into the credibility, along comes Karen Reed. Well, I want to share with you right now at 140 the theme that is in, and I'm talking about what's in the courtroom. And I'm talking about evidence in the courtroom and testimony in the courtroom. And that is the evidence and testimony. There is no, he was, whatever happened, it happened outside by the flagpole. And I try to explain to some people, they don't have him in the house. Some people say, oh no, in that circle map, it would be for all of 4 seconds. They can't get him in the house. Many of the people that are saying he was in the house, now they're trying to say he was in the garage. First they were saying he was in the basement. Now they're saying he's in the garage because of the temperature of the cell phone. I'm not saying it's easy. Because of the way they had initially framed the case, meaning the defense, they kind of put themselves in a corner. I'm going to move so you can do your stand-up. So, are you ready? Okay. All right, I'm going to move to the other side. All right, everybody, we're going to go for a little walk. Right over there. You're 10 minutes up? Oh, okay. All right. So we're staying right here. All right. I'm gonna let her do it, and it's wildly. I just want to stress again. It's so effective when these Karen clips come in. Now, what you're hearing right now, 142, is obviously the sirens are nonstop out here in front of the courthouse. I also. It is true. The defense hasn't had their turn it back yet. That's true. The defense will get to put on their case. Many times when I've covered many of these trials, when the prosecution's on, it can get a little squeamish, if you will, for the defense, because it's like a pounding. I'll say this: it's certainly nothing like it was. You'd think that this is like the South Bronx. It's nothing like it was last spring. But as someone that is in the courtroom all last week, courtroom yesterday, courtroom today, will be in the courtroom all next week, and covered it last spring. Here's the theme. There was heavy drinking, happened at the flagpole. They don't have one witness that says John O'Keefe went inside that house. Not one. Now, some people are saying, well, that's because they're all lying. Okay, you can say that, but that's not evidence. That's not, there's no evidence that he was inside the house. They haven't been able to place him in the house. The cell phone data, very, very damaging. The temperature of the cell phone, very, very damaging. There are some people, if you want to watch it and just say everybody's a liar, right? Everybody's liar, liar, pants on fire, then again, you can do that. But what is, now there's still other parts we're going to get to. We still haven't heard cause of death. There's still so many different parts of this that they're going to weave in. And the biggest thing I caution you to weave is for the accident reconstruction. I am confident that when the Commonwealth, when the state of Massachusetts and Prosecutor Hank Brennan, when they bring in their accident reconstruction, now admittedly, last spring with Trooper Paul wasn't as smooth as you might want it to be. So this time around with Hank Brennan, you're already seeing a pattern. The PowerPoint demonstrations are better. The effective use of these video clips, way better. They'll explain the Sallyport video better. They're doing everything better. And Brennan's better. And Brennan has command of the courtroom, without question. Last spring, Alan Jackson is what I would say king of the court. Not this time. Not this time. Hank Brennan is king of the courtroom right now. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Donald wants to resurface his basketball court. He said, who do I recommend? Call Corey at Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401-283-9815. 401-283-9815 for quality asphalt seal coating. They could resurface the tennis court, basketball court, pickleball court, sport court. They can epoxy garages, patios, decorative concrete flooring. I share their Facebook page. It's dynamic. Quality asphalt seal coating. Keep your parking lot safe. They'll fix potholes and cracks. And the epoxy garages and patios are fantastic. Call them, request a quote. Quality asphalt seal coating. 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815 for quality asphalt seal coating. Well, folks, right now at 146, I think I need to. So we're gonna go for a little walk because Fox News Channel is gonna go live, and so we're gonna get out of their way so they can be live. And everybody just stay with me. We're gonna maneuver through here. Here we go. There we go. See, folks, who said problem? No problem. No problem. All right. Listen with the with the rain, admittedly, right? It makes it a little cramped, but we can work it out. Always room at the end. No, we're gonna stay right here. It's a little dicey because we're right near the door. Yeah, but this is gonna be just fine, and especially because of the time, you can see we're moving at 147. I can't stress enough and to recap. Now, I am also watching, by the way, in the Aaron Thomas in the North Kingstown basketball coach trial, right? The naked fat coach. He is now on the stand, and I've been seeing some of Tim White's reporting where he is saying that he now regrets the whole thing, and it's cost him his job of teaching, and it's cost him his job of coaching. But I read that as almost he's trying to apologize to get the jury to then negate the whole thing. I'm not convinced they have him, by the way. As far as Aaron Thomas, I am not convinced that they have him. But right now at 148, I do want to check any local news. Now, again, right now we are live, AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, you can listen online at our website, depetro.com. And then we are, in fact, live right now on both on X and YouTube and also on Facebook. So just a reminder, I will be on Court TV tonight, and that will be from 8 to 9 o'clock, obviously talking everything Karen Reed. But I want to just make sure we're not missing any news of the day. It's 1:48, and I will be going back into the courtroom for the afternoon session. And where things left off was Massachusetts State Trooper Nick Garino on the stand. And it was powerful. It was powerful. And I also, lunch recess, Brennan says he's finished with Garino. Chet Daniels reporting. Previously, Garino went through the voicemails text Karen Reed left on the phone overnight. They were played in the first trial as well. One voicemail played for the jury. John, I'm here with your blanking kids. No one knows where the blank you are. You're a blanking pervert. So Katie Benoit of NBC 10 is saying a long cross of Garino will likely happen after the break. Well, that's something to look forward to. So Christina Rex of WBZ. Juries played every call, text, voicemail from Karen Reed to John O'Keefe from 12:32 a.m. to 6:03 on the 29th. Now it's time for luncheon break before Alessi is going to cross-examine Trooper Garino. I spoke too fast. I thought it was going to be Jackson going after him. Alessi, folks, Robert Alessi, nicest guy in the world. But you ask him what time it is, and he starts explaining how to build a clock. It can be rough. Katie Benoit, NBC 10, there were a total of 8 voicemails. Garino says Reed called O'Keefe 52 times between 12:33 and 6:03, because that's normal. 52 times. Does that sound like someone in their right frame of mind? Does that? Wow, I just saw something else I'm going to mention. Does that sound like someone doing something rational? Hold on. Ed Fitzpatrick of the Boston Globe just posted. Oh, okay. Lieutenant Kevin O'Hara of the state police is being called. Okay. Um, Deborah Gonzalez, director of Immigration Law Clinic at Roger Williams, was sworn in as the Central Falls new municipal court judge. She replaces Joe Molina Flynn, an immigration lawyer who resigned after FBI agents searched his downtown Providence office. But that lady, I mean, Central Falls, what is it with to say they go with the to say they go with pro-immigration people is an understatement. Okay, Katie Benoit has Lieutenant Kevin O'Hara, State Police, being called. Christina Rex, back from lunch. Defense did not cross Trooper Garino. Interesting. Instead, Commonwealth calls Charles Ray to the stand. Ray's not here, it seems. So they're calling Lieutenant Kevin O'Hara of State Police. So they're starting. I'm going to be going in 9 minutes. But what I remember from Lieutenant O'Hara, he's part of the team that arrived from State Police. So let me explain. So the way that Canton is set up, folks, it's kind of like the way that with Exeter, I think we can go back. I think we can go back to our spot. Are you? Did you guys finish your hit?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thanks
Okay.
very much.
Yeah, no problem. So, folks, the way it's kind of the way it kind of works is the way. Whoop, a little low. The way that Exeter, they don't have their own police department, not really. So the state police, they come in. Actually, I don't even know if Exeter has their own police, but the state police come in and they assist. It's the same thing with state police in Canton. My memory and notes from the trial last spring is Lieutenant O'Hara was excellent on the stand. Lieutenant O'Hara was excellent on the stand. As a matter of fact, he resembles Kevin O'Hara of the state police resembles Fanning of the state police. And there was one time I was talking, and I said, I remember Fanning, he was great. I meant O'Hara, just because they resemble each other. But that's the way it came down. All right, 153. So it sounds like this should be the final day in North Kingstown. That's number one. Number two, Pawtucket. Pawtucket still has one outstanding homicide, and then they clearly did get the suspect involved with the homicide from yesterday, and that's frightening. And folks, by the way, this is also the second incident inside in just a couple of days. Saturday night was inside with the birthday party with Providence, and then now you have this happening in Pawtucket, where yesterday afternoon, and we don't know everything, but it's so bizarre that this individual goes into, and on top of that, he lives on the first floor. So he lives on the first floor, and this suspect goes into their apartment, his neighbor's mugshot of Eric Peterson, and he's accused of shooting and killing. I mean, the whole thing is just frightening. 37-year-old Eric Peterson, charged first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony assault, carrying a pistol without a license. Isolated incident. Peterson and the victims, who were family, live in the same building, but as we learned from the cousin, and he committed this atrocious act right in front of the child's young children. And I can't even imagine how traumatizing that is for those children. So let me, right now, 155. And I also want to mention, folks, with this rain, right now, if you're on Mendon Road, you know what I would do? I would head right over and see Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland, that historic white church. Stop in and see the Queen of Health. Why not get some nice healthy tea to keep yourself heat your things up, or maybe some nice spices. You get to visit with a local retailer. It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Also, this portion of the program, before we go back into the Karen Reed trial, and again, folks, I understand Alan Jackson was decent with Lieutenant Gallagher of King. He was. And so I posted, hey, he's gaining, he's in a groove a little bit. And then Karen Reed came along and undermined the whole thing. The defense still has a way to go. Well, they haven't had their case yet. But I will say there's nothing wrong with pointing out when the prosecution is having a good morning or a good day or who won like that. And I'm telling you right now, this is day 10. And they're just piling up. They're telling a story. And they're telling a consistent story of drinking, of in front of the house. And he's at the flagpole. And she's got a cracked taillight. And the witnesses, the way they're describing Karen, is matching the voicemails. That's so important that the voicemails of Karen Reed match the description that the witnesses were giving. And again, another witness yesterday, I hit him. Who says that? Karen Reed doesn't arrive and say, who did this? Karen Reed doesn't say, how could this have happened? I saw him going in the house. Karen Reed arrives at the scene and says, I hit him. And several people heard her. Now, if people want to say, well, they're all liars. Okay. You could go with that. I'm not convinced that that's effective. Arch Design Builders, folks, they specialize in residential design. Contact Ed and Roxanne at Arch Design Builders, 401-207-4124. And you're going to discover the Arch difference. Maybe, are you thinking right now on this rainy Tuesday, you want a new kitchen or a bathroom or a basement or a deck, or maybe you have a special project in mind? Arch Design Builders. There's many people, family owned and operated, high-end, custom build and customer service. You're going to want to do business with Ed and Roxanne. I think the world of them. They're talented. It all starts with that first meeting with Arch Design Builders. 401-218-9707. 401-218-9707 for Arch Design Builders. Now, coming back to right now, it is 1:58. At 2 o'clock, if you listen to the radio, you're going to hear the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, let's see what happens. Yesterday, suddenly, I was in Pawtucket for the homicide. But definitely tonight, from 8 to 9, live on Court TV. But I'll say this about the Karen Reed trial, of which I'm about to go back into. 10 days in now, this is day 10, the Commonwealth has worked on an initial narrative and theme. And that was, it happened in front of the house, it happened by the flagpole, that John O'Keefe was not inside of the house. They're going to slowly work into accident reconstruction. They'll work into the injuries he sustained. Everything's not done in a day. I hear people and I see people saying, they still haven't told us how. It's all in time. It's a 9-inning game. They're still just in the early stages here. But I would argue right now, they have laid the groundwork. Very effective narrative, easy to understand for that jury. All right, I want to thank Roger. I want to thank also the guest, Brandon. His cousin came on with us. Condolences to the family. Folks, I'm going to go head back in for the afternoon session on the retrial. We'll see you tonight at 8 with Vinny on Court TV. Everyone else on the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news.